The door slammed so hard the picture frames rattled. I can still hear it. That sharp crack of wood against wood, like a judge's gavel sealing my fate. My father didn't yell at first. That would have been easier. Instead, he just stood there in my bedroom doorway, holding the pale pink blouse I'd been wearing minutes earlier. His knuckles were white around the fabric. My mother stood behind him, her hand pressed to her mouth as if she'd walked in on something unspeakable. I was frozen in front of the mirror. Half of me was still dressed. Skinny jeans. A soft lavender cardigan. My lips tinted with a shade I'd bought in secret. My hair brushed carefully across my forehead in a style that felt more me than anything I'd worn before. And in the mirror, I saw it all collapse. "What is this?" my father finally asked. Not shouted. Asked. That made it worse. My throat tightened. I looked at my reflection, at the person I'd just started recognizing, and for a second I wanted to defend them. To protect them. "It's just clothes," I whispered. But it wasn't just clothes. It was months of curiosity. Of secret online orders delivered to a pickup locker across town. Of late nights watching tutorials with the volume low. Of trying on different versions of myself in the quiet safety of my locked room. My father stepped forward and threw the blouse onto the bed like it had burned him. "You are not leaving this house like this. Do you understand me? Like this. As if I were something broken." That night, my phone was taken. My laptop disappeared. My bedroom door stayed open. Every move I made felt monitored. The house I'd grown up in suddenly felt smaller, tighter, like the walls were leaning in to remind me who I was supposed to be. And who I wasn't allowed to be. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, mascara still faintly smudged beneath my eyes. My chest felt hollow. They had discovered my cross-dressing. And now I was trapped. The next morning, the silence was suffocating. At breakfast, my mother wouldn't look at me. My father read the newspaper like nothing had happened, though the tension in his jaw said otherwise. "You're not going out this weekend," he said without lowering the paper. "No distractions. You need to think about what you're doing. Think about what I'm doing." As if this were some reckless hobby. School was worse. Word hadn't spread, thank God, but I carried the fear with me like a neon sign above my head. Every laugh felt suspicious. Every glance felt loaded. Did they know? Could they tell? In the hallway, my friend Daniel nudged me. "You okay? You look like you didn't sleep." "I'm fine," I said too quickly. But I wasn't fine. Because every time I walked past a reflective surface, I saw two versions of myself overlapping. The one everyone expected, and the one I'd seen in that mirror the night before. The softer one. The real one. After school, I went straight home. My father's car was already in the driveway. Monitoring. The next few days became a routine of quiet surveillance. My wardrobe had been inspected. Certain items were missing. My drawers felt violated. But they hadn't found everything. Under my mattress, tucked inside an old notebook, was a small velvet pouch. Inside it, a subtle nude lipstick and a thin silver bracelet. Tiny rebellions. At night, when the house went silent, I would sit on the edge of my bed and slide the bracelet onto my wrist. It was delicate. Light. Almost weightless. But when I wore it, I felt anchored. I'd apply the lipstick carefully, using my phone's dark screen as a mirror. My hands would tremble, not from shame, but from fear of being caught again. And yet, when I looked at myself in that dim reflection, my heart would race in a different way. There you are, I'd think. The person I wasn't allowed to be during the day. Trapped doesn't just mean locked doors. It means swallowing your voice at dinner. It means pretending not to notice when your father says, "Boys need strong role models." It means hearing your mother whisper on the phone, "It's just a phase." But what if it wasn't a phase? One Saturday afternoon, while they were out grocery shopping, I did something reckless. I pulled out the emergency stash. From the back of my closet, hidden inside an old backpack, I retrieved a simple black dress I'd never had the courage to wear outside my room. My hands shook as I stepped into it. The fabric hugged me in a way jeans never did. It fell just above my knees. I paired it with the bracelet, brushed my hair, and applied that soft lipstick again. Then I stood in front of the mirror. For a moment, I forgot about being trapped. I tilted my head slightly, practiced a softer smile, adjusted my posture. I even tried speaking in a gentler tone, testing how it felt in my throat. "Hi," I whispered to my reflection. The person in the mirror looked nervous, but they also looked alive. A car door slammed outside. Panic. I stripped out of the dress so fast my fingers fumbled with the zipper. I shoved everything back into hiding, wiped my lips clean, and forced my breathing to slow. When my parents walked in, they didn't suspect a thing. But I did. I suspected that this version of me wasn't going anywhere. The next week at school, something shifted. I started making tiny adjustments. Subtle ones. Grooming my eyebrows just slightly. Choosing slimmer cuts of clothing. Wearing softer colors. No one commented at first. Then, during group work, a girl in my class, Maya, tilted her head and smiled at me. "You've changed your style," she said. Not mockingly, just observant. "Yeah," I replied carefully. "Trying something new." "It suits you." 3 words. But they felt like oxygen. I replayed them in my head all day. It suits you. That weekend, I made another decision. If I was going to be trapped physically, I would at least expand internally. I started journaling, pouring every thought onto paper. The fear. The excitement. The confusion. The longing. I described how fabrics felt against my skin. How certain colors made me stand taller. How I'd practiced walking with more grace when no one was watching. And slowly, the shame began to loosen its grip. I wasn't doing something wrong. I was exploring. The real confrontation came unexpectedly. My father called me into the living room one evening. My mother sat beside him, hands folded tightly. "We need to talk," he said. My stomach dropped. "This behavior," he continued, choosing his words like stepping over landmines. "It's not what we raised you to be." I swallowed. "What did you raise me to be?" I asked quietly. Silence. "A good man," he finally said. The word man echoed in my ears. "What if being good doesn't look the way you expect?" I said, my voice shaking but steady enough. My mother's eyes welled up. "We're scared for you." That was the first honest thing anyone had said. And suddenly, I wasn't just angry. I was tired. "I'm scared too," I admitted. "But not of what I'm wearing. I'm scared of losing you." The room shifted. For the first time, this wasn't about fabric or lipstick. It was about fear. They didn't magically understand. There was no dramatic hug, no cinematic acceptance. But something cracked open. The rules loosened slightly. My door could close again. My phone was returned. The tension didn't disappear, but it softened. And that gave me space. Space to breathe. Space to experiment in healthier ways. Over the next few months, I found online communities, carefully, respectfully. I read stories from others who had felt the same confusion, the same thrill of recognition in the mirror. I wasn't alone. That realization was powerful. One afternoon, I did something that once would have terrified me. I walked out of my bedroom wearing a soft oversized sweater in pastel blue, technically unisex, but undeniably delicate. My hair styled intentionally. My nails buffed to a subtle shine. My father noticed. He looked at me. Really looked. Then he sighed. "You going out?" "Yeah," I said. He hesitated. Then nodded once. That nod felt bigger than any speech. Outside, the air felt different against my skin. I wasn't in a dress. I wasn't fully transformed. But I wasn't hiding either. At the cafe, I ordered my drink. The barista smiled and called my name without hesitation. No laughter. No pointing. Just normalcy. And in that ordinary moment, I felt extraordinary. Because I wasn't trapped anymore. Not completely. The climax didn't come in a dramatic explosion. It came quietly, when my father knocked on my door one evening. "I don't understand all of this," he admitted, sitting awkwardly on the edge of my desk chair. "But I see you trying to figure yourself out." I nodded. I don't want you to feel like a prisoner here, he said. This is your home too. Home. The word settled gently in my chest. We weren't perfect. There were still awkward moments. Still disagreements. But the door was no longer slammed shut. And neither was I. I learned that empowerment doesn't always mean rebellion. Sometimes it means persistence. It means wearing the bracelet even when your hands shake. It means asking hard questions at the dinner table. It means looking in the mirror and choosing not to look away. Today, when I think back to that night, the slammed door, the trembling silence, I don't just remember fear. I remember the first time I truly saw myself. Being trapped forced me to confront who I was. To decide whether I would shrink to fit someone else's comfort, or slowly expand into my own. And I chose to expand. If you're watching this and you feel trapped, by expectations, by fear, by silence, I want you to know something. Discovery can feel like disaster. But sometimes, it's the beginning of freedom. The mirror isn't your enemy. It's a doorway. And when you finally step through it, even if your hands are shaking, you might just find yourself waiting on the other side.